All-wheel drive, nearly 400 brake horsepower, and a 0 to 62 time so fast it'll obliterate most cars packing good old-fashioned piston power. It's also got 4 or 5 doors and is the perfect runabout for a family of lunatics. It can only be the Audi RS3, and this is the new version. Well, it's a near-production prototype covered in jazzy camouflage, but it's been revealed alongside a whole host of big numbers and features. So let's dive into 5 things you need to know about the new Audi RS3. But before I get stuck in, remember to hit the like button and subscribe for more awesome videos just like this one. Like the old car, you'll be able to get the RS3 in 2 different forms, as a traditional 5-door hatchback or a 4-door saloon. And while the prototypes seen here are covered in camouflage, it's only a thin veil so we can still see some of the finer details. That being said, it doesn't actually look that different to the S3. There's a slight difference to the front bumper, which now includes a small slat integrated into the brake duct, and the side skirts look like they've been lightly revised. But the big change here is at the back of the car, where you'll find Audi Sport's signature dual oval exhausts that are integrated into a diffuser. Above that is a plastic mesh that gives the car a more aggressive look, even if it's just a massive fake vent. The same updates can be found on the saloon, and both cars appear as though they'll come with new alloy wheel designs, but we'll have to wait for the full production car to come along to see whether the new rims are just for the prototype. Good news! The Audi RS3 features the same turbocharged 2.5 litre inline 5-cylinder engine as the outgoing model. Okay, so not exactly a headline grabber, but it's impressive that Audi has managed to buck the trend of downsizing by conforming its 5-pot motor to all the latest emission regulations. And it all has been done without electrification. The motor produces 394 brake horsepower, identical to that of its predecessor, though it now arrives at 5,600 RPM, 250 RPM earlier, with a red line of 7,000 RPM. Peak torque comes in between 2,250 and 6,000 RPM, and is up 20 Nm to a total of 500. That goes to all 4 wheels through a 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox. It's the same unit you'll find in the old RS3, though we're hoping it's had at least a bit of a software update, as the old car could be a little bit dim-witted. That all helps the RS3 go from 0 to 62 in just 3.8 seconds, courtesy of an improved launch control system, putting it some 0.3 seconds quicker than the old car. It's 0.1 seconds faster than the Mercedes AMG A45 S, and only 0.4 of a second off an Audi R8. But the new RS3 is so much more than just 0 to 62 times. In fact, Audi has now turned its attention to improving the handling of the RS3, an area where it has historically lagged behind. The big new feature here is a torque vectoring rear differential that mechanically splits power between the 2 rear wheels depending on the driving mode you're in. And this, according to Audi, will help eliminate understeer. There are other benefits to the system too. The RS3 now comes with a drift mode, a bit like the new Volkswagen Golf R. In fact, you can watch our review of the Golf R by clicking the link in the top right hand corner. Put the car into the RS Torque rear mode and the throttle will become more responsive, the gearbox mapping will change, and in certain circumstances, up to 100% of the car's power can be sent to one of the rear wheels for some slidey action. And that brings us onto the car's driving modes, of which there are many. We've already covered RS Torque Rear, and there are the usual Audi modes such as Comfort, Auto Efficiency, Dynamic, and RS Individual. Not only will Dynamic put the car in a more sporty setup, but it'll also put a bit more power to the outside rear wheel when in the corners, though not to the extent of the RS Torque Rear mode. There's also a new RS Performance mode, which essentially prepares the car for track use, complete with its own mapping. It's likely the new RS3 will come to the UK with adaptive dampers pre-installed, meaning you'll be able to change the car's suspension characteristics while on the fly, likely through the RS Individual mode. Audi has yet to reveal pricing for the RS3, which doesn't come as a massive surprise because it hasn't fully unveiled the car yet. But if we look at the S3, which comes in at £39,000, then it's likely that the RS3 will come in between £45,000 and £50,000. That's a lot of money for a hatchback, but most hatchbacks won't embarrass a supercar at a set of traffic lights. We'll have all the details on the new RS3 when it's unveiled in full in the coming weeks, but in the meantime, you can find all the latest car news and reviews by heading over to YesAuto.com.